So this is the Sony XB43, which was a very big fan favorite, and this is the Sony ULT, which I feel is going to be a future fan favorite. And there are some very big upgrades here between the ULT and the XB43. Now, first off, as you may have noticed, the ULT is much larger than the XB43, and it's also much heavier. However, I do feel the ULT is a better option for portability because it does come included with a shoulder strap, whereas with the XB43, not so much. Now, both of these speakers also have built-in light features, and I personally like the light feature on the ULT because it's a lot more dynamic than the XG300, and this light feature also does a really good job of illuminating its surroundings while at night. However, the light feature on the XB43 is still a little better, specifically because the drivers are illuminated as well. So I really hope that the next version of the ULT has illuminated drivers. Now, when it comes to speaker setup, this is also a major difference. Now, the ULT has a single front-mount firing woofer with dual front-mount firing tweeters and dual passive radiators that shoot out the sides, whereas with the XB43, the speaker has a dual front-mount firing woofers, dual front-mount firing tweeters, which you can see because they're illuminated, and we've got those dual passive radiators that shoot out the sides. However, the ULT sounds much better than the XB43 because the ULT has a much better definition in the mids, and it also sounds a lot more open, but also the ULT gets much louder than the XB43, and it also has a lot more bass. Now, when it comes to battery life, both of these speakers have an advertised battery life of 24 to 25 hours. However, with the USB-C port on the ULT you can also use it to charge your own devices, which I feel is super convenient, and you can also still use the speaker with a wired connection because it does have an audio jack. Overall, I know that the Sony XB43 was a fan favorite, and I still think that it's a good looking speaker. However, I do feel that the Sony ULT is going to be a new fan favorite, plus the ULT has some major upgrades over the Sony XB43, but if you want to learn more, you can always watch the full video.